911, what is your emergency?
Oh God, she's in the water. The alligator.
Ma'am, please, slow down.
Who is in the water? What is happening? My neighbor, Nancy. She was gardening by the pond. She fell and it just came out of nowhere.
There are places in this world where paradise and peril walk hand in hand. Sun City Hilton Head, a sprawling, picturesque adult community in South Carolina, was designed to be one such paradise. A haven of manicured lawns, sun-drenched golf courses, and tranquil lagoons, it promised golden years filled with peace and leisure. But beneath the shimmering surface of those idyllic waters, a silent, ancient danger lurked. A danger that, on a scorching August afternoon in 2022, would shatter the tranquility of this seemingly perfect retirement dream. Imagine a life well lived, a journey spanning nearly 9 decades, culminating in a serene existence where every day promised gentle joys. Now imagine that peace, that sense of security, ripped away in an instant, not by a sudden illness or the slow march of time, but by a primordial predator. This is the story of Nancy Ann Jackson Becker, an 88-year-old woman whose life and the lives of those who loved her were forever changed by a single, horrific moment. It's a stark reminder that even in the most serene settings, the wild can reclaim its territory, and the cost of complacency can be truly unimaginable. Nancy Ann Jackson Becker. The name itself evokes a sense of quiet dignity, of a life rich with experiences. Born in an era far removed from the digital age, Nancy had witnessed profound changes in the world, embracing each new chapter with grace. She wasn't just a resident of Sun City. She was a vibrant thread in its community tapestry. Before she retired to the warm embrace of the South Carolina Lowcountry, Nancy had lived a full, active life. While the precise details of her earlier professional life are not widely publicized, those who knew her spoke of a woman with an enduring spirit, a keen mind, and a deep appreciation for the simple pleasures of life. She had chosen Sun City Hilton Head for its promise of an active retirement, surrounded by nature, yet with the comforts and security of a well-maintained community. Her home, a cozy bungalow with a charming backyard, overlooked one of the many serene ponds that dotted the landscape. These ponds were a key feature of the Sun City aesthetic, providing picturesque views, attracting local wildlife, and offering a calming presence for residents. For Nancy, her garden was a sanctuary. It was where she nurtured life, tending to flowers and plants with the same care and dedication she applied to her relationships. Gardening wasn't just a hobby, it was a passion, a daily ritual that connected her to the earth, grounded her, and brought her immense joy. The bond with her home, and especially her garden, was profound. It was a space where she felt safe, productive, and at peace. Her neighbors often saw her out there, a small figure diligently tending to her patch of green, a picture of quiet contentment. She was known for her kindness, her gentle demeanor, and her unwavering independence. Despite her age, Nancy maintained a remarkable level of self-sufficiency, a testament to her resilient spirit. She was the kind of neighbor who would offer a smile and a wave, who remembered birthdays, and who embodied the very best of community living. Her decision to live in Sun City was about more than just a house. It was about embracing a lifestyle, a final chapter where tranquility and natural beauty would define her days. Little did she or anyone else know that this idyllic setting harbored a hidden menace, a predator that would turn her sanctuary into a scene of unimaginable horror. The very landscape she cherished, the serene waters she gazed upon, held the capacity for ultimate betrayal. The creature that lurked beneath the surface was an American alligator, Alligator mississippiensis. Not just any alligator, but a significant specimen, nearly 10 feet long. To put that in perspective, imagine a small car, low to the ground, muscled and ancient, with teeth. These reptiles are apex predators, perfectly evolved over millions of years to dominate their aquatic environments. They are the dinosaurs that still walk among us, living fossils with an incredible capacity for survival. Originating from the southeastern United States, alligators thrive in the warm, freshwater ecosystems of states like South Carolina. Ponds, lakes, rivers, and even man-made lagoons like those found in Sun City provide ideal habitats. They are opportunistic hunters, their diet primarily consisting of fish, turtles, snakes, small mammals, and birds. But make no mistake, anything that enters their territory and appears vulnerable can become prey. Their behavior is often misunderstood. Alligators are not inherently aggressive towards humans, but they are territorial and possess an instinctual drive to feed. They are ambush predators, relying on stealth and the element of surprise. They can remain submerged for extended periods, eyes just barely breaking the surface, making them incredibly difficult to spot. Their powerful jaws are capable of delivering a crushing bite force of thousands of pounds per square inch, the strongest bite of any living animal. Once they latch on, they often perform a death roll, twisting their prey underwater to disorient and drown it. Warnings about alligators are common in areas where they reside. Do not feed them. Do not swim in their waters. Keep pets away from the edges of ponds. These warnings exist for a reason, rooted in the very nature of these powerful, instinctual creatures. And tragically, in Sun City, those warnings, or perhaps the understanding of their profound implications, weren't enough. The tranquility of Sun City Hilton Head, like many communities built within natural alligator habitats, was always a delicate balance. It wasn't a secret that alligators lived in the community's numerous ponds and lagoons. They were an acknowledged part of the ecosystem, often seen sunning themselves on banks or gliding silently across the water. For many residents, they were even a curiosity, a unique aspect of living in the South Carolina Lowcountry. But over time, curiosity can breed complacency. There had been incidents, certainly. Pets, particularly small dogs, had gone missing near the water's edge. Residents sometimes reported alligators coming closer to shore than usual, perhaps drawn by discarded food or the sheer availability of easy access to the water from manicured lawns. There were hushed conversations about how bold the alligators seemed to be getting. Community management had signage, certainly, warning residents to be cautious and to avoid feeding the animals. But were these warnings truly sufficient? Did they convey the sheer primal danger these creatures represented? The lawsuit filed by Becker's family would later contend a critical breakdown in safety measures. It wasn't just about general warnings. It was about the known dangers. Were there specific instances of alligators showing aggression towards humans, or at least a concerning lack of fear? Were there reports of alligators approaching homes or stalking residents? The legal argument pivoted on the community's alleged failure to implement proper measures, perhaps more robust fencing in certain areas, more frequent patrols, or more direct, personalized warnings to residents living directly on pond edges. The very design of the community, with homes often backing directly onto the water, invited a dangerous proximity. As the years passed, the line between human and wild territory blurred. The alligators became less of a distant curiosity and more of a silent, omnipresent neighbor. And as that line blurred, the risk, unbeknownst to many, slowly, relentlessly escalated. The stage was being set for a tragedy, one born from the gradual erosion of caution and the sheer, unyielding force of nature. August 15, 2022, a Monday. The air hung heavy and humid, typical for a low-country summer, promising another sweltering afternoon. The sun beat down, turning the greens of Sun City's meticulously kept lawns to a vibrant emerald. For Nancy Ann Jackson Becker, it was just another day in her beloved home. She was out in her garden, a familiar ritual, tending to her plants near the edge of the pond. Approximately 11 a.m., Nancy, with her customary diligence, was likely kneeling, perhaps pruning or watering. The world around her was probably filled with the gentle hum of summer insects, the distant sound of lawnmowers, and the quiet splash of fish in the pond. She was focused on her task, her back possibly to the water, absorbed in the tactile comfort of soil and foliage. The fatal moment. According to initial reports, Nancy slipped. It could have been a patch of wet grass, a misstep, or a sudden loss of balance. A momentary lapse, a simple accident that, under normal circumstances, might have resulted in a scraped knee or a bruised ego. But this wasn't a normal circumstance. Her momentum carried her forward, and she tumbled into the shallow edge of the pond. The water, previously a tranquil mirror, was now disturbed. The sudden disturbance, the thrashing, the vulnerability of a body entering its domain, it was a signal. A signal to the nearly 10-foot male alligator that had been silently lurking, a shadow beneath the surface, a master of patience. Within seconds, perhaps less, the ancient predator struck. It wasn't a slow approach, it was an explosive burst of power. The alligator, sensing an opportunity, lunged. Its powerful jaws clamped down. The initial impact would have been immense, a blunt force trauma delivered with incredible velocity and strength. The screams that followed would have been choked, desperate, cut short by the sheer terror and the suffocating grip of the beast. Neighbors, alerted by the commotion, by the raw, piercing sound of a human in mortal distress, rushed outside. What they witnessed would forever be seared into their minds. The massive alligator, its scaled body thrashing in the water, Nancy's form struggling, then going still. The water around her began to turn a sickening red. The alligator wasn't letting go. It began to guard its prey, an instinctive behavior preventing anyone from approaching. The horror was palpable, a scene from a nightmare unfolding in broad daylight, in the heart of a supposed sanctuary. The 911 call, choked with terror and desperation, was the first ripple of an escalating crisis. "She's in the water! The alligator's got her!" The urgency in the caller's voice was unmistakable, a raw plea for immediate intervention. Within minutes, the quiet residential streets of Sun City Hilton Head would be transformed into a chaotic staging ground for emergency personnel. Approximately 11:15 a.m., the first Beaufort County Sheriff's Office deputies arrived, their vehicles' lights flashing, sirens wailing, breaking the serene morning. They were met with a scene of utter devastation and a growing crowd of horrified residents. The most immediate challenge was clear. The alligator was still in the pond, actively guarding Nancy Becker's body. It was a terrifying stalemate. No one could approach without risking their own life. The beast, nearly 10 feet of primeval power, was locked onto its prey, its instincts overriding any fear of human presence. Fire rescue teams, paramedics, and additional law enforcement quickly followed. Their priority was the same: secure the scene and, if possible, retrieve the victim. But the alligator remained an immovable obstacle. Witnesses, still trembling with shock, recounted fragmented details. Nancy gardening, the fall, the sudden, brutal attack, the sheer speed of the assault, the relentless grip of the alligator. It painted a horrifying picture of a woman utterly helpless against a force of nature. The South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, SCDNR, was immediately alerted. These were the specialists, the experts trained in handling dangerous wildlife. Their role was critical: to safely capture and remove the alligator, allowing emergency services to finally reach Nancy Becker. The atmosphere was thick with a grim urgency. Every second felt like an eternity. The professionals moved with a chilling efficiency, setting up equipment, assessing the situation, communicating in clipped, precise tones. They knew the risks. They understood the power of the creature they were dealing with. The operation wasn't just about retrieval. It was about ensuring no further lives were lost in the attempt. The alligator, unyielding in its hold, seemed to defy all human intervention, a living, breathing testament to the untamed wild that had breached the thin veneer of human civilization. The sun continued to beat down, but the air was cold with dread. The capture and eventual euthanization of the nearly 10-foot alligator by SCDNR was a grim, necessary act. Once the immediate threat was neutralized, emergency responders could finally approach Nancy Becker's body. The scene was heartbreaking, a stark testament to the brutality of the attack. An autopsy was swiftly performed, confirming the worst. Nancy Ann Jackson Becker had died from blunt force trauma, a direct consequence of the alligator's overwhelming power. The sheer force of the bite, the thrashing, the unimaginable struggle. It was a horrifying end to a long life. The news ripped through Sun City Hilton Head like wildfire. A community built on the promise of peace and security was suddenly gripped by fear and profound sorrow. Residents, many of whom had lived in idyllic proximity to these ancient reptiles for years, now looked at their tranquil ponds with a newfound chilling dread. The story quickly garnered national attention, a shocking headline that underscored the precarious balance between human development and wild habitats. Media vans descended upon the quiet streets, reporters vying for interviews, broadcasting the chilling details to a stunned nation. The narrative was simple, yet devastating. An elderly woman gardening in her own backyard, tragically killed by a creature from the depths. But the story didn't end there. In the wake of the tragedy, Nancy Becker's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the community's management. Their grief was compounded by a searing question. Could this have been prevented? The lawsuit's allegations were damning. They claimed that the Sun City Hilton head administrators had failed in their duty to protect residents. It wasn't just about general awareness of alligators. It was about a deeper alleged negligence. The family argued that the management was fully aware of the alligators' persistent presence, their increasing boldness, and their inherent predatory nature. They contended that insufficient warnings were given, that safety measures were inadequate, and that the community had failed to adapt its protocols in light of growing risks. Public reaction was swift and multifaceted. There was an outpouring of sympathy for Nancy and her family, but there was also a heated debate. Who was truly responsible? Was it an unavoidable act of nature or a failure of human responsibility? Some residents called for more aggressive alligator management, even eradication in populated areas. Others defended the community, arguing that living in such an environment carried inherent risks that residents should understand. The legal battle would undoubtedly be protracted, forcing a deep dive into internal community reports, incident logs, and the adequacy of their existing safety protocols. The tragedy of Nancy Becker's death became a grim case study, a stark reminder that idyllic living in close proximity to the wild demands constant vigilance and unyielding respect for the power of nature. The story of Nancy Ann Jackson. Becker serves as a somber echo, a chilling reminder that even in our most carefully constructed sanctuaries, the ancient wild still holds sway. We build our homes, we manicure our lawns, we fill our lives with comfort and routine, believing we have tamed the world around us. But nature, in its rawest, most primal form, waits. It waits in the silent depths of a seemingly peaceful pond, in the shadows of a manicured landscape. And sometimes it strikes with a brutal, unexpected force, shattering the illusion of control and leaving behind only a stark truth. The wild is always watching, always waiting, a silent predator reminding us of our fragile place in its timeless domain. The sun still shines on Sun City, but for many, the tranquil waters now hold a shadow that will never truly disappear.